Hello everyone, John Maher here, and it's Thursday the 4th of September, and this is your weekly Grass10 grazing management update on the dairy edge. In summary, it's been, the fourth week on a row of below average growth, with the result that the average farm cover today or this week is 723 kilograms of dry matter per hectare at a stocking rate of 3 livestock units per hectare. That should be 900 in early September. Admittedly, if you're stocked at 2.5, having that figure is on target, but realistically, we are about 150 to 200 kilos behind where we should be for most dairy farmers on pasture base. Over 80% of the farms are behind target at this stage for early September, largely due to a below average growth, of which this week or last week was 46, when it should be close to 60 or over, and demand was 43. When you grow 47 and eat 43, there's not going to be any change in the farm cover. So this is a case of actions having to be taken now and making things happen. So in order to catch up, we would need a growth demand swing of 20 kilograms of additional growth per day over demand on every hectare for the next 2 weeks. So that's adding about 250 to 300 kilograms of cover onto the existing figure, but that has to be made happen. So in simple terms, if the growth was 50, demand must be 30. If the growth is 60, the demand must be 40. So this means that certain things have to happen in relation to the management of the herd in order to get this increase in pasture cover. The current diet is about 13 kilograms of grass, 4 kilos of meal, and 1.5 kilos of silage. So where to from here then? Probably a combination of 4 different processes that have to happen on the farm to get any level of improvement. There's normally no silver bullet here. It's a combination of actions. The first one is quite simple: to set the farm up on a minimum of a 30-day rotation. That's 30 paddocks, 1 paddock a day, 30 hectares, 1 hectare a day. So this rotation length is not looking back. It's the proportion the farm grazed each day. So if it's 90 acres, you must graze 3 acres a day and not go any faster than that. I suppose next thing then is to feed more. Feed, especially zero graze grass or silage or something like that, because it has a better grass sparing effect than feeding meal or straights. Although, the reality is both are kind of needed. To spread fertilizer is the third piece of the jigsaw. Ideally, you'd hope every farm would have 20 or 30 units of nitrogen per acre left. The preference would be an N plus K type product, like 21-0-10, 19-0-15, 29-0-14. Whatever the case may be that we get nitrogen out. Now, there will be some farms who do not have much of a nitrogen allowance, and that's therefore making use of watery slurry or the collecting yard will make more sense, and clover. I suppose the other piece, if you do have a phosphorus allowance, is wise to use up at this stage. And the fourth piece, which is the area that most farmers tend to struggle with, but removing animals off the grazing platform. We start with the heifers and calves. They shouldn't be on the grazing platform. They should be somewhere else, ideally on the out farms. But there's cows that have high somatic cell counts. We're coming at that time of year where that becomes a greater problem as yield starts to decrease. Lame cows have no future in the farm. A lot of people have the herd scanned at this stage, and the nut and calf cows ideally should leave where you are short of grass, short of silage, and where the numbers in terms of your organic N per hectare, your effective stocking rate, is on the wrong side of numbers. For example, being above 210 kilos for the year. Our feature farmer is a classic example, Mike Ahern, of all these 4 actions. So some of the empties have been offloaded off the farm and more to go. I'll come back to that a little bit later. So luckily enough, with the way things are going, grass growth is probably set to pick up on many parts of the country, especially in the southern coastal counties, with the exception of Kerry, because they've got lots of rain already and growth has been pretty normal there. But the rain has arrived in, the likes of Cork, Waterford, Wexford, South Tipperary, and some of the Leinster counties in which growth had been falling off. So rain should bring a spur in terms of growth, or an increase in growth anyway. And this should help build cover, but unless there's some other actions taken, it's going to be difficult to do so. But that's the good news, I suppose. If we look at our feature farmer, who's based near Ballyduff in County Waterford, the average farm cover last week was 500, growing about 30, eating 35. However, Mike's expectation is that there will be an upturn in growth after the rain arriving. The paddocks are all ready to take off. His current diet is 11 kilos of grass, 5 kilos of meal, 4 kilos of zero graze grass. So the other feed is going in. The fertilizer is being spread. 1 bag to acre, 29-0-14. He has set the farm up in a 30-day rotation, and some of the empties have left the farm already. So a combination of processes is the best to try and deal with a situation when you're, I suppose, behind on grass supply. Mike has some reseeds as well, and they've already got their fertilizer application is sowing in mid-August, and they will be also topped up with 29-014 in the next few days. I should say that at farm level, in my travels across the country, I will bump into a lot of paddocks on farms with yellow rust. And I suppose the point I'm going to make here very, very quickly is that those paddocks are automatically lower in nitrogen content, and that's why the grass is starting to get rusty. The growth rate or the vigor has gone out of them, and by right, the worst 2 or 3 paddocks with yellow rust on the farm, should be targeted to be taken out immediately to get them regrowing. Otherwise, they will just stall. So it's a case of being proactive on the farm. I suppose in summary, the strategy I'm outlining here involves putting effort in now to build grass over the next 3 weeks. After that, when you get to late September, grass growth starts to drop off quite quickly, and the herd will eat more than is grown. I suppose a few other points just to say, the reseeds on farms, when I'm at it, they really shouldn't be on a 30-day rotation, probably close to 20 days. And that's, reseeded in the likes of July, August. It means that the cover won't get too high. It means the tillering will happen. They should be ideally grazed in the dry days. You have to be opportunistic. The worst thing can happen is that these reseeds are left going along rotation. They absorb more nutrient from the soil than a standard sward. And if you arrive into them in the wrong weather and damp weather with additional nutrient in them, they can become difficult to graze and difficult to manage. So graze far more regularly than the standard part of the farm. Finally, Mike Ahern was the winner of the Sustainable Grassland Farmer of the Year competition, and he will open his farm up to the public next week, on next Tuesday, September 9th at 11 a.m. And we'll see you all there for a good day. If you would like to hear more from the Grass10 team, subscribe to the weekly Grass10 newsletter, which is available on the Grass10 page on the Teagasc public website, and the link to the newsletter is also available in the description of this podcast. We would like to thank the sponsors of the Grass10 campaign, AIB, Grassland Agro, Department of Agriculture, FBD and the Farmers Journal. This has been your Grass10 update, and I will talk to you next week when we hope the grass figures will improve.